You and your competitors are going for the same prospects. How do you fight for that share of wallet and to stay relevant to that prospect? In today's episode, we're going to talk about it from an enterprise level standpoint, and my guest today is going to give you some dope ideas. You're going to love it. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I'm your host, Donald C. Kelly, the Sales Evangelist, and I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. On this episode, our guest is the one and only Mr. Claudio Meidler. You can find him on LinkedIn. He is a sales leader at Google. He has tons of experience selling in the German market, European market, and also selling across the EU and as well as experience here with enterprise level selling. So when we dove into this content and we were talking about it, we wanted to really go at how do we get that share of wallet. It's a buzzword and everyone is talking about it to some way, shape, or form. It's harder nowadays to get access to that same amount of money when your competitors come in towards that. And maybe it's a client that you've worked with in the past, but what can we do? And Claudio is going to share some simple strategies that are powerful, tactical, and insightful that you can apply. So we'll dive in and check that out. If this is your first time listening to our podcast, know that the show is designed to do two things. One, help you to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline, and 2, help you to close more deals. Everything we give you is going to fall on one of those two camps. And listen, I'm telling you, the stuff today is going to be really good, especially as it goes into the examples and as he goes into sharing more specifically what kind of homework you should be doing beforehand. Check it out. Claudio, welcome to the show.
Welcome, Donald. Very nice to be your guest today.
I'm really excited for this. We've been talking about this for a minute, and the opportunity to be able to get you here and to get you on the show, to share your wisdom, I'm pumped about that. I bragged about you a little bit in the teaser. Why don't you take a minute and tell us more about what you do right now, your role?
Sure. Thanks for bragging. No need to brag. Let's stay humble. No, first of all, I'm very honored to be here today and to have this chat with you. It's going to be great. So I am working for Google. I'm working for Google for the German team in Dublin, because Dublin is the European headquarter of Google. I don't know if you know that. And I'm working as an account executive, and I am the pod lead in the German medium-sized market. So basically, I'm dealing with small and medium-sized German e-com retailers. And as a pod lead, I'm leading 2 account managers and 2 analysts. Well, 1 analyst and 1 international consultant on certain priority accounts, and trying to deliver the best possible service we can and trying to support their growth with the tools and the insights of Google. And apart from that, I have worked on the digitalization of German law firms during COVID. So I found my own digital agency in COVID and learned a lot about sales throughout the years. Since almost a decade now, I'm working in sales and sales account management. And yeah, it's a pleasure for me to speak about my experience and to hear more about you.
Well, this is going to be perfect. I'm really pumped to be able to have the opportunity to chat with you and for you to pass some of that wisdom along to us. And we'll put a link down in the show notes so folks can get access to you. One of the ways we got in touch was through LinkedIn and from you posting content there. So Claudia is sharing daily tips and ideas and strategies and content on LinkedIn. If you'd like to connect with him, you can find his information down via the link below. But one of the things you and I started talking about, Claudia, was how challenging it is right now for many sellers who are selling to enterprise level organization or mid-level organization. The share of wallet is a term that they're familiar with, where you are battling against other companies, your competitors, people in the same ecosystem, trying to get that same share of wallet. How do we help our clients to be able to continue to invest with our organization with so many fighting against that? And I would love to get your take on that challenge right now, some of the things that you're seeing, and then we can identify maybe 3 practical tips that sellers can apply. Does that sound fair?
It sounds absolutely great.
So
and that's actually
with that challenge,
Donald.
Yeah, tell me about what you're seeing with that challenge right now.
Yes, sorry. And that's what I just wanted to say. So basically, your question is aiming on on succeeding in a more and more competitive landscape, right? Ensuring
Yeah.
to save the share of wallet which we had in place and want to have in place as a seller. From my point of view, this is probably, it has always been already a challenge in sales, competition,
Mm-hmm.
right? Raising competition, ensuring to stay top of mind when needed with your product, and to deliver the value you need to deliver in order to stay ahead of the competition. So I think the best possible approach is to really stand out in terms of service level, right? How can
Mm.
you provide actually a greater service level than the competitors? Well, by asking as much questions as only possible, right? Basically, asking and pre-qualifying the needs, the pain points of that enterprise businesses you're talking about, right? Well, first of all, doing your due diligence beforehand, before you talk to them, going into their website, checking out their products, looking for industry specific knowledge, checking out the competition, and then with a whole lot of knowledge, right, approaching them, asking what's actually top of mind, and then delivering, over delivering instead of over promising, and giving insights, handing out testimonials, case studies, and really delivering what some of the competitors might not deliver, because let's be honest, there are still a lot of people out there who actually do a type of sales that's pretty aggressive, right? But that's not
Yeah.
what the customers are looking for. Customers, if you are a customer, what you want is you want to get the most out of it, to get the most out of one email, to get the most out of a presentation, to get the most out of a talk, to ensure that the talking you're speaking to knows what he or she is talking about, isn't it?
Yeah. So here's one of the things I want to go back in on that then. So
Mm-hmm.
some people might tell me, well, Donald, yeah, I know that. I know to get that value. I definitely know I need to do it better in discovery. In the space that you are in right now, and one of the things that we've recognized is that right in this, when we're doing this podcast, this is like starting of Q2 2024. So we're in April right now. There are literally so much more competition going after enterprise level deals. And like you said, the share of wallet's always been a challenge, but especially when folks are being conservative on their expenditures. They're not willing to. They have to be compelled on that money, to utilize that money, more so. Like 3-4 years ago, people had money in bull market, and everybody was like, you spend on stuff, but we're being really conservative what we're spending on. And then again, you have competitors going against that, going for that piece. It sounds like what you're telling me. One of the things I picked up from that stuff is you being able to come to the table knowing more than just an order taker, like the buyer not saying, well, I just want the solution, but you have to put a little bit more work into it to be able to express that I know what I'm talking about, and to show that I know your business and understand where you might need help. Am I putting words in your mouth, or is that what I'm hearing?
It's 100% what I was saying. I just summarized. I think, look, I think it's basically when you sell to on an enterprise level, or to the decision maker, right? The buyers in the end, what they need is, they need to see that maybe you deliver in the beginning something without expecting immediately a deal back, or without expecting immediately huge budgets coming from, right? So I'm a huge evangelist, to say it with your lovely show name. I'm a huge fan of and evangelist of delivering a service without expecting anything, and by delivering that service, right, creating the magic that the buyer decision, right, will be done towards you or towards your favor, because of the fact that you have delivered insights, that you have
Hmm.
delivered market knowledge, and a type of maybe predictions, maybe case
Yeah.
studies, maybe any type of strategy they don't have, yes, on their view yet, and therefore convincing them to buy your product. Does that make
So
sense? Make sense?
when you say like deliver, something like you mentioned a case study, giving something for free, like because what is it the case study, or is there something else that you had in mind that you can say, I'm going to give, this is what I've done in the past, I've given to clients for free,
Yeah.
and this has led to opportunities?
Well, I mean, isn't sales is always about scarcity? It's about creating urgency, right? It's about creating FOMO. So what I tended to do in my past experience was always to mention, not in a bragging way, just as it is, in a humble way, explaining that I have worked with competitors, that I am still working with competitors, that I can provide beneficial knowledge from working to competitors and from my past experience. So if you are convinced that you have a good knowledge, and if you're convinced that you have already worked with competitors, let's say in the enterprise business, why not mentioning it? Why not, right, creating that necessity and that urge to actually follow your competitors? Because every single buyer, right, who is hearing that you're working with the competition and the competition is implementing certain solutions successfully, they naturally want to hear what they are doing. It's natural to wonder, hey, am I maybe missing something out? Is there something I'm not aware of? And from that point, it's way easier to actually get the sale, I believe.
Do you can you talk to us about maybe one of the clients that you've worked with? You don't give names. You don't have to give names, but maybe some of the deals that you've come across and how you applied this to them. I don't put you on a spot here. Anyone you could think about, or any scenarios you could think about where you were fighting for a share of wallet?
Well, first of all, I think we all do fight for a share of wallet. So this is, I love how this is always presented in sales, like a type of let's say, a buzzword. But in the end, it's what we are doing, right?
Every day, every day,
every day, fighting for the share of wallet. No, mate, it's 100%. As I said, it's really going out there. I mean, I have worked, for example, with big German retailers, and what I did beforehand, I checked out on certain tools. There's so many free tools even on the internet you don't need to pay money for. Who are their competitors?
Who's working in turn? You recommend that you can use for that to find the competitors?
100%. One of my favorite pages actually is SimilarWeb. Right? If you check out www.similarweb.com, you can enter a homepage, right? And get immediately listed for each and every market country the top 5 or top 10 competitors. That's not always 100% accurate, I believe, but that helps, right, to get a good idea and to then check out by yourself. So SimilarWeb is very helpful, for example, and then to actually see, okay, which of these competitors are similar to a competitor I have worked with, or is there someone I have worked with? And if I haven't worked to any of them in this whole industry, I would check internally in my company. Is there someone who has worked with this type of vertical? And is there anything specific I need to know to master a conversation within that vertical? What are the challenges? But then I don't know how it's working in the States because I'm coming from Germany, but we have in Germany even publicly accessible information for the revenue statement, right? For each and every company that's listed in Germany. And and I can't see all the financial statements, but I see usually the financial statement of, for example, 2 years ago. So I can get a good idea even, right, with that information to see, okay, this is the revenue, the turnaround they do each year. This is more or less the income they are generating each and every year. And by that, you can also more or less do your calculations. What could be a possible marketing share, for example, if you're selling a marketing product? That's quite helpful because, again, I think doing your homework, knowing the market, knowing the competitors, and really showing that you are leaning into it, that you're not just a dodgy salesperson who wants a quick sale and who will be gone once the sale is done, But if you rather show, hey, I'm there, I want this to be a success case. I want you remain live with us with our solution. And I want to
Yeah.
start with a test budget, maybe not the full budget because you spoke about the budget. Maybe a test.
Yeah.
What's a test budget that you have left? What's a test budget? Where do you get that money usually for a certain test? And what's the test budget you would feel comfortable with? And then based on that, right, going into forecast, delivering more information. And this is, for me at least, the way to go.
I feel there is I like the idea there a lot, because so often we do homework, do preparation, do research. But this is why I wanted to talk to you in specific to give what in particular you did. So with this company that you were going after, you started looking at their competitors and you started seeing what was making a difference, where you could come in to make a difference. It's not to the buyer, it's not known as a sale. Like, let's back up. If I have a problem, let's say I have a CRM issue and I don't have an effective CRM, I'm not using my CRM and I'm paying for it every single month. If you could help me, I may not necessarily, I can live with that. It's called an unmet need. I may put a Band-Aid on it and I know I need to fix it, but it's not a big deal right now. But if you are selling CRMs and you know, like historically, that my CRM, because you look at the competitor and you see what I'm using, or whatever comparable, you might even come to the table and say, well, Donald, I recognize that people who use XYZ CRM has a high drop-off rate, where because they're missing out on this particular feature or this particular thing. It's not that you're coming and saying, hey, we have a discount, you should get our solution. You're bringing a business problem to me. Like, you're bringing something relative to the table. And if you could quantify that, talk about how my lack of production, maybe with not using CRM to the fullest capacity, could be impact in revenue for my organization when it comes specifically to follow-up. Like, when you come in with something like that, yeah, I now see you as somebody that knows stuff, as an industry authority leader, rather than somebody who's pushing the latest CRM and the latest discount or promotion they have for the Q2. You see where I'm getting at? And that's why I love to bridge that gap of what you're saying there. It's just like pure gold.
Yeah, I love it. Absolutely, Donald. That's the way to go. I mean, as soon as you are able to quantify the impact of not buying your solution, because you have an idea of what it means for them, because you have already worked with it, of course, that's the golden way to take. Because I think when also another thing, right? When you have a testimonial or a case study, it's many times that I would say sellers somehow at the very end of a conversation or after a pitch, right? Sending, hey, I have a case study. You know what? I can send it over. I have applied over the years a different approach, Donald. I started to put the case study and similar cases, testimonials, more towards the beginning of the conversation to say, hey, look, to create right from the start trust, to build up trust, and to show and demonstrate that we have worked with similar cases and we have driven impact and we have solved a solution from X to Y. So I think by showing that, right, boldly, not maybe in the first minutes, but in the beginning of the conversation, yes, and saying, hey, look, this is what the problem was for your competition, and this is what we solved, how our solution drove impact. That's a good way to get them hooked, right? To get them interested, to get them listen to you.
I love it. It makes such a big difference when you can come with that. And when you started talking about the notion of doing the case study, that's why I wanted to ask why. Like, I could quickly see how that can be a credibility builder like nothing else. Especially when you're working with your somebody who they don't know who you are and whatnot. This is awesome. I love it. The other component that I wanted to kind of hit on before we wrap up here, you mentioned, or at least I felt that it pulled. I got more from it, was around that I don't know, like, I guess between the lines, not necessarily, you didn't say this outright, but between the lines of making a mistake of doing stuff the traditional way in the traditional way is like saying, bring the case study at the end. I feel that so many of us do habits or do certain things because this is how it's always has been done, but we're not questioning why it's being done that way. And if we can do something to break the pattern interrupt. I'm making sense there. So like doing a case study at the beginning, like you're saying, that breaks pattern interrupt way better than what. Well, now that I finished talking to you, let me give you a case study to validate my point. What else can we do as sellers break to break from the norm that may be able to help us to be more effective at grabbing more share of wallet?
Love the question, Donald. I mean, that's a good example, right? Just because we have done certain things the way we did it always, that doesn't mean that things won't change or that it's not worth to apply a different approach. So what has helped for me, this is actually also something I learned throughout my career, is being very direct in terms of, I don't know if you know that, like you have a sales conversation and you feel like something is in between. You feel some things on the side of the prospect are not outspoken. You feel there are certain objections in their mind. You know, on the way they write, on the voice, the tonality, the face expression, you know if they are actually trusting you or if they are hesitating because of past experience. And I figured out that it's really powerful to actually speak that out. I just recently posted about it on LinkedIn, actually, that everybody of us, probably even you and I now, have like a pink elephant in our hands. So there's something always we don't say. Maybe for you that you think, oh my God, we might run out of time. Maybe for you that you think, oh wow, we have to hurry up. I don't know, I have a date afterwards. So point is, there's something not outspoken, always between humans. There's always something that's not clear in communication, I think. And in a buying process, it's very, very helpful if you actually mention that, if you actually say, hey, I can imagine you are hesitating because of your past experience you mentioned in the beginning. I can imagine you have been approached by other competitors in the past. I know this is a lot of money I'm asking for, but how does it sound for you? And if you actually speak out of what you expect your opposite to be afraid of or to hesitate on, that's powerful because it builds trust and it actually sets the right setup. It's like readjusting the scenery, right? It's like placing the pink elephant, speaking it loud out, and from there moving the objections away. Many times you can't do that because the objections are not outspoken. So, right, your opposite will say, your prospect will say, all right, thank you. I will think about it. I will get back to you. But then saying, hey, look, I can imagine what some pain points are. Can you help me on that? Am I right that you are still not convinced or that you are convinced? So by moving away all assumptions and speaking these I don't even know how to say it, by removing the fog, okay? By removing the fog, you can usually get straight to the core of the objection and to the core of the mind of the buyer or decision maker.
Yeah. I can see that for sure. I had a sales trainer once, and he says, if you feel it, you should say it, because
Love
usually
it.
there's probably a reason behind it, right? And you go back to the unspoken thing. I was like, yeah, when I do get done with speaking with Claudio today, I got to go pick up my kid from school. So,
You see? So you
see,
see?
there's something.
There's always something, man. I love it. I
Yeah.
love this example. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's totally right, and it goes back to like human behavior, and I think especially when I feel sometimes when we talk to, we think we're talking to enterprise, or we are talking enterprise level organization, we feel that they're just like stoic and they're, executive, but these people have lives, they have personality, they have challenges, and everyone that I've spoken
Ego.
to, all the large clients, they have egos. Like everyone that I've spoken to at those levels, I just, you feel it. Like I might say to Claudio, if you fix this problem, when you fix this problem and you implement the CRM, how is that going to impact you in particular in your role? You're probably thinking about that, like, crap, solve this problem. Nobody in the company has been able to do this. I'll be able to be set. You know what I mean? Like there's, if you feel it, just talk about it. And I think there's tactful ways of how you can bring that up in a conversation. And I love how you say direct. Let's finish with that part. How do you bring it up, though? You said you're direct, and we want to be tactful. We feel it, we say it. If I feel that you're not interested, do I just go out outright and say it? How do I say it without sounding like a jerk or pushy?
Yeah, good one. Well, I would say I would really do it in a kind of, I would phrase it rather like a question in terms of, am I right? Or I am feeling like, because if you show it's exactly as you say, it's being tactful, right? It's about being considerate, and you do that by actually expressing your feelings, by saying, to me it sounds like, or to me it feels like, or I have an impression, am I right? Do you mind if I ask you to? Right? Showing empathy and at the same time being direct, that's for me the way to go.
Yeah. Empathy and direct. Can you give it let's just do the example real quick role play.
Love it.
I'm the executive, and then you feel like I'm not as interested.
Yeah.
How would you say that?
Tactfully. All right, I would
like just like
tactfully. Donald, may I ask you a question? I have a feeling like
Sure, what's up?
I have a feeling like you are not yet convinced, and I would like to know what else of information you would need to make business today.
That's the German in you right there, being direct. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it is quite German. It's quite German. I agree.
But it's universal, man. Because I would, at that point, I'd be like, you're right. I just don't see how the value of what you're doing is different than what I'm getting from Google. You know what I mean? And then you can you take it from there, right? You probably say, is there anything else? And you get deeper, like you said at the beginning. So look at that. The Academy Award goes to Claudio. Great acting.
Likewise. Give it back to you, Donald.
All right, but it's very simple, guys. You guys are hearing this. We talked about several things. We talked about doing the research. We talked about coming compared. We talked about building a relationship, doing effective discovery, going deeper. We gave some tactical ways that you can do so, and now we gave some tactical ways about being direct. If you were to sum this all up into one sentence for somebody who's listening to this episode, when it comes towards getting that share of wallet with so many of the people coming at it, what's that one major piece of advice you'd want them to leave if you were to sum up everything we talked about today?
Yeah. Well, it's basically do your homework beforehand, deliver information and service without expecting immediate return on invest. Ask bold questions and deliver testimonials or case studies in the beginning to build up straight from the start credibility.
Love it. Claudio,
and ask questions. Yeah.
I love it, Claudio. If folks want to get in touch with you to learn more about you or to connect with you and ask you questions, what's the best way for them to go about doing so?
Ideally, you just reach out through via LinkedIn, right? It's Claudio Meidler on LinkedIn, and I try to answer most of the posts I can or comments. I mean, there are days where, of course, it takes a little longer to answer, but I'm reading all of them, and that's the fastest way probably to approach me through LinkedIn.
We'll put that up there, Claudio. Thank you so much for taking the time to come on the show today.
You're more than welcome. It was a pleasure, Donald. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Hey, that was Claudio. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and find his information down below in the show notes. Connect with him. Tell him that you heard him here on the Sales Evangelist Podcast. I am thrilled to tell you that the concept he's sharing are powerful principles that I believe in. I mean, go back to what we talked about with the homework, like not just coming to the table with, hey, I know you have competitors, or I know I know you have people that you're working with, like being more specific. I know you're working with XYZ company, and to hear some of the challenges that they may have. I thought that was really dope. Also, I really like the fact when he came back to, using this case study differently, not waiting to validate something at the end, but using it to be able to help bring credibility at the very beginning of that conversation, especially if you're reaching out to a brand new prospect. It shows that you're not making stuff up, that you're not just wishing things, but this is what we've done before. Again, awesome stuff, man. If you want to find out more about him, find the link down below. Check out some of the cool things that he's sharing on LinkedIn. sharing stuff every single day. Also, I want you to be aware of this as well. If you're looking for ways to get help and to get guidance, to be able to practice your pitches, to be able to get an opportunity to be with your peers and to get guidance, you need to check out our mastermind. You can find more information by going to thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. But this is where you get a chance to work with other sales professionals and get the help and guidance that you need to be able to succeed and thrive in your industry. Check it out. I'd love to have you join us. We keep the groups small, anywhere from about 10 to 12 sellers. Come in and check out the community and see if it's something that could benefit you. Again, thesalesevangelist.com/mastermind. As always, I want you to thrive. I want you to succeed. I want you to 3 to 5x your sales pipeline. Most importantly, I want you to raise your level of thinking and go out and do big things. See you in the next one.